Good afternoon from the oldest city in the United States. So we are here actually in St. Augustine, Florida. We are actually here to do something a little different today. We are actually here at the Medieval Torture Museum. Guys, if you are faint of heart or if you have little ones, this is definitely not going to be the video for you. Certainly close out of it now. So essentially what this museum is going to entail, we are going to be looking at exactly what it sounds like, medieval torture. This is going to be torture that was used around the Middle Ages. You're going to see things like exhibits, things of that nature. I should also note though, many of the horror movies that we enjoy today, such as Saw,
I know you. I want to play a game.
Hostel, even Game of Thrones, they got inspiration from a lot of these medieval tortures that you're going to be seeing here today. Also, side note, I did speak to the shopkeeper, and she did let me know that this museum is said to be haunted. She did say that because some of the relics that you will see around the museum are actual pieces that were used during a torture. Most of these are replicas, but there are going to be a few that did originate from Germany that are the actual devices. So, with that being said, happy October, and come along with me for this very unique tour. Goodness, and as we go up, we're already seeing some lovely art, comforting art on the walls with various torture devices, masks of shame, and other devices up here. More effects there. Very dim lighting as well to add to the mood. All right, so to get in, you have to insert this token. Okay.
Have a nice day.
I don't know about that, but all right, so we are entering the first room, and off to our right-hand side, we are starting off with a garrote torture. Now keep in mind this tour does come with an audio guide, however, my husband is using it. I'm just kind of walking through filming, but I'll be explaining each of these torture devices. And again, guys, I cannot stress enough, if you are faint of heart, please close out of this video. But the garrote, or garrote, I'm not sure how to say it, it appeared in Spain around the 18th century and was used as an alternative to the gallows. First, garrote looked like a stick with a noose to strangle. Later, the loop was replaced with a sharp spike. The garrote was used until the end of the 20th century. The last execution was carried out in Andorra in 1990. I feel like that's a little too recent, but if we back up and look at it, the way that this actually works, so the victim would sit here with his or her back to this spike, and the spike would drive through the victim's spinal cord. And if you look here, that's a picture of what it would look like. We're off to our next wholesome exhibit, burning out the eyes. This cruel torture was used by wild tribes of the Dark Ages. It was inherited by the military concentration camps of the 20th century. So I did listen to the audio guide with my husband. Essentially, this was a castle architect, and they did scald out his eyes. And they threw a bag of gold at him there for him creating the castle. But look at his hands. His hands were definitely mutilated. So they took basically two hot, I believe, coals, and they scalded out his eyes. Moving along here, these are actually what are called shame masks. And you might see some references from some famous metal bands, from some horror movies, and even Pinocchio with the big nose there. But essentially, shame masks are accessories for public ridicule, punishing such human vices such as gossiping, eavesdropping, gluttony, and drunkenness. It was invented in the 16th century England and enjoyed great popularity in Europe for about 200 years. So, if I had to get one of these, I would probably go with one of these shame masks, because at least these wouldn't cause pain. These are just extremely embarrassing. Oof. So I am Sicilian, so this one is called the Sicilian Bowl. Back in the Middle Ages, this is what my people participated in. According to legend, this device was built on the orders of the Sicilian tyrant Phalaris in the second half of the 6th century BC. Later, spectacular death penalty became popular in ancient Rome, Western and Eastern Europe, the Middle Ages. So this is the bull. And as you can see down on the bottom, there is a fire. Let's open it up. Oh my goodness. You are certainly having a rough day there, pal. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you to it. Hope you have a better day there, bud. Now, this one is super common. This is going to be the gallows. So execution by hanging was carried out since ancient times in different places all around the world. Public hangings were used to execute criminals, murderers, thieves, rapists. In some Asian countries and several American states, hanging is still legal today. Very, very ominous. And it's a little bit interactive because if you move over to the left, there's a little lever here. You can make the floor drop. Okay, so we are making our way now to the next room. And I must say, guys, it is pretty ominous because we are basically in here alone. Various torture devices here. So these are forceps, pliers, and nippers. The first forceps were probably used for the interrogation of criminals and prisoners of war when the iron, crime, and war was invented. This is a breast pulper, and that one is going to be in this device here. And in Western Europe of the 15th to 18th century, this tool was used often glowing hot to tear or crush the breasts of women convicted of witchcraft or of having an abortion. So, pretty brutal stuff here. And that is a picture of what it would look like. All right, so we are now next to the Judas cradle. The invention of this instrument is credited to the Italian executioner Hippolyte Marcel. It appeared in the late 15th century and was used for the torture of heretics and potential witches for several centuries. So basically, let me get a little closer so you can see. Essentially, it stretches you out, breaks your limbs apart. And each corridor gets more and more gruesome. Here we have the peeling skin, flaying. So there's a mention of flaying captured enemy or rebellious governors while they were still alive in the chronicles of the ancient Assyrians. The Aztecs of Mexico flayed their victims during a ritual human sacrifice. So yeah, we've seen this in several horror movies. Think Leatherface. Lots of horror movies. All right, now we are entering the next room here. And off to our right, we have a guillotine, the infamous guillotine. It was proposed for use by the French physician Jean, oh my goodness, I cannot even say his name, in 1791 during the French Revolution. An estimated 40,000 people were executed by the guillotine. It was used until the mid-20th century in Europe and European colonies. The guillotine was mainly used to execute government traitors, rebels, murderers, and robbers. The bottom there's the head. And then in the back is the victim's body. Now this exhibit we have flagellation. People were beating by many different instruments, from thin rods to strong sticks, from ancient times to the present day. This punishment was practiced not only in prisons and at hard labor, but also in monasteries, schools, and even in households. So there is a victim there. And then there are the various devices. So here we have what's called the torture table. In the days of the Inquisition, tables with limb clamps and various holes were used to immobilize the victim and subject her to further torture. And hubby so graciously said that it's basically an extreme back scratcher. And he was like, heck yeah, let me get in line, my back's itching. And I must say too, this little spot here in the museum is pretty ominous. And if you look over to the right, there's some various quote unquote art of tortures being held. All right, now I think we all know what this is here. So this is going to be an electric chair. So the idea of using electricity for a quick and painless execution was first time proposed by an American dentist named Albert Southwick in 1882. In 1890, the first murder was executed in the electric chair voltage, and the performance penalty amounts to about 2,700 volts and an alternating current passing through the body of the convict, 5 amps. During the 20th century, the chair was used in 26 states, but in recent decades, it has been actively displaced by other forms of punishment. So the victim's head would go there, the victim's hands there, and the feet there. So this was essentially used for the interrogation of criminals and heretics during the Inquisition since the Middle Ages. And if you take a look here, it's a spiky chair. No, thank you. All right, now on this wall, we have things like anti-masturbating rings. So for obvious reasons, I don't think I need to explain what that is and what that does, but moving along here, we have a Venetian pectoral. So this is used for the cauterization of the breasts. No, thank you. And then up here, a female chastity belt. And this is used for women who have been said to commit adultery. Now here's a punishment that I would probably get. Let me show you. So this here is a punishment for gambling. Now, while I don't gamble, I definitely indulge in the overconsumption of makeup purchases. So this necklace was worn by gamblers, dice and cards indicating that for what people should be punished. So on this one, there would be little makeup brushes and puffs. And again, I'm making light of it, but this would subject the victim to things like stoning, beating, and mutilation if they were seen wearing this necklace. And are you guys seeing what the inspiration behind this one is here? So definitely Joker was inspired by this. So this punishment is mentioned in the legend of the Japanese Edo period, the 17th century. This was told of a beautiful woman who was disfigured by a jealous husband. And this is mighty brutal, carved into a permanent smile.
You wanna know how I got these scars?
So this here is going to be a head vice, and it is used in the interrogation of prisoners. And I don't think much explanation is needed here. You can see pretty clearly what's happening to my boy's head. Pretty uncomfortable there. So this is what is actually called a pillory, and you may see this in a lot of theme parks. So your head would go here and the hands would go there. So this is a common form of public punishment for violating administrative and moral standards, most popular in the 18th century. So yeah, now you guys see the origins of those cute little Magic Kingdom pictures in Liberty Square. I swear, each room just gets worse and worse and worse. So here, directly in front of me, is an Iron Maiden. Ever hear the band Iron Maiden? Well, here's an actual one. Or if you guys have seen Matilda, it almost kind of looks like a chokey.
The apple never rots far from the tree.
A popular theory is that this weapon was invented by the Inquisition to torture apostates. However, it is believed that the virgin structure was fabricated in the Age of Enlightenment. So, yeah, imagine going in there. It'd be very pokey. So this was a tongue nailing torture for spreading gossip, slander, and jokes. So, no thank you. I don't want a tongue piercing today. And then directly in front of me, we have the impalement torture, and it was some of the most severe widespread executions of spies and prisoners of war during the Dark Ages. So there's an impalement here and here. All right, now Exhibit 33 is witch bathing. So this was popular in medieval Europe and America since colonization. So a method used for the investigation of a particular suspected of witchcraft. So a man was lowering into the water. If he was drowning, he was posthumously justified. If not, he was executed for communication with the devil by means other than drowning. And who knows what those other means would be. So, you're not having the best day there, buddy. That would be very uncomfortable. Now, if you have seen Terrifier 3, this is a very similar torture in the Terrifier 3 movie using a rat. So this gentleman having the best day ever is laying here, and on his chest is a rat, and it is quite literally eating him alive right through his chest. And then if you look up here, looks to be hot coals, which they used also in the Terrifier movie to make the rat want to bite down to get away from the heat. This would be god-awful. I am horrified of rats. And here we have the Gene Simmons origin story. No, this is tongue cutting. And it's pretty self-explanatory as far as what's happening here.
This one has always been my favorite. The pendulum, which is slowly cutting you side to side, like you're going to meet at Publix.
All right, so up ahead we have a Spanish donkey, a wooden horse. You can see that lovely lady there. It's pretty sinister. So, Spanish horse was invented during the Inquisition to torture women accused of heresy and witchcraft. Known historically in reference to the Italian Madalena Lazarus, who was tortured using a wooden horse during 8 hours, even though she had confessed after only 3. Wow. That is not fun. And I love how it says, do not climb on the wooden horse. No, thank you. I have absolutely no desire to climb on this horse. No, thank you. And then moving along here, we have scalding of heels. Oof. And a lot more happened to her than just scalding her heels. Her fingers are missing and everything. So application of severe burns with boiling water or oil was practiced in the medieval world to make a person plead guilty to various offenses. According to unconfirmed reports, the Asian Secret Services still practice the scalding of heels. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Grandma.
Not grandma.
How are you doing, Grandma?
What are you doing?
Did you get your hands off again?
No.
No.
Metal gossiper's violin. This device was used in Europe since the Inquisition for soft penalty individuals accused of slander and spreading gossip.
I thought that was just Grandma trying to untangle the cable wires.
No, it's not grandma trying to untangle the cable wires.
To the TV.
So this is going to be the witch wane. This method of proof of guilt was coined by court officials in Adevater City, Holland. In the late 15th century, the suspect, usually a woman, clothed in a white shirt and put on a special scale. If her weight was less than 99 pounds, the unhappy woman would have to have been found guilty of witchcraft. So for the skinny girlies, I'm sorry, you're kind of out of luck. So let's see what I stack up as. I can be an angel, a saint, a knight, witch, goblin, or imp. Let's see.
You're a knight.
I'm a knight?
Almost a saint.
I'm almost a saint? Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so here in front of me we have the medal for drunkenness. Another way to deal with alcoholism was decreed by the Russian Tsar Peter the Great in 1714. The guilty had to wear a medal weighing 17 pounds from a few days to several weeks, while the owners of drinking establishments were forbidden to serve them. So, basically a WWE belt around your neck. So, right up ahead is an executioner. Looks like he's eaten a little too much Taco Bell. And I love the little sign that says, please don't touch our executioner. Ironically, he is very fragile. Thank you. I'm sorry there, buddy. You don't look very fragile. Not at all. So this is a torture called imprisonment in a cell. So if you've ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, do you remember when Frank Reynolds gets trapped in the coil? It's giving that.
What is this? How did this happen?
How does anything happen, Charlie? Move past it.
Where are your clothes? Why are you naked and stuck in a coil?
Just get me out of here.
So I don't think I have to go into too much detail about what this torture is, but this would be extremely, extremely unpleasant. So here we have various torture shoes. So shoe torture was used in China until about 1,000 years ago, but the most wide use was in the Middle Ages in Europe. And then we have a Spanish boot over here. It was used for torture in the late Middle Ages Europe. The greatest popularity was among the French and British inquisitioners. Very, very unpleasant. But I'm sure this gentleman is happy to accommodate you with these lovely, comfortable shoes. So she is super cool looking, super spooky. She looks straight out of The Conjuring. All right, so up ahead we have a barrel torture. Now, being placed in a barrel with cold water in Eastern Europe and in Russia was a preventative and usually public punishment for alcoholics and brawlers. In ancient Rome, the criminals were put in a barrel filled with excrement. They were forced to submerge themselves with the threat of beheading. Oh my goodness gracious, no thank you. This looks god-awful, as does all of them, but this one in particular looks pretty bad.
Alrighty guys, so that is going to do it for us today here at the Medieval Torture Museum in St. Augustine, Florida. Guys, this was definitely very educational. I certainly learned a lot walking through these halls. It's certainly ominous, I will tell you this. If you're someone that's a little bit squeamish of scary things or people getting tortured, things like that, probably avoid this place. The lighting is very dim. You really feel like you're in an actual torture chamber, so just keep that in mind if you are gonna come here. I'm not even gonna lie to you, as a horror fan myself, I was clinging on to hubby the whole time we were walking through this thing, so it is not for the faint of heart. But again, I really did enjoy the experience overall. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for all the October spooky magic and all of the magic to come. Thank you so much for watching. Stay spooky. Bye.